How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Black Metal Rebellion. And I'm going to be doing something new today on my channel. And it's just going to be kind of a running series, I guess, that I'm going to do in between just black metal updates, slam updates, different metal discussion videos, and unpopular metal videos, and all that kind of thing. Just because I have kind of an affinity for DC Comics and Marvel Comics, the animated series they make, the movies they make, and just I have a general interest for that kind of thing. So I figured in the meantime, between videos that aren't super duper related to metal and all that other stuff that I do, I would also kind of do like a nerd corner, I guess, where I talk about different things related to comics, the shows, or the films, and hopefully you enjoy it. It's not going to be super duper scripted unless it's something really, really important, so there's probably going to be a lot of sentence filler. There's probably going to be a lot of tangents I go on, so if you can handle that and you don't mind that and you enjoy comic related things, then feel free to stick around and watch my Nerd Corner series. I got a different background, as you can see, for this. I got my Justice League poster up here and my Avengers League poster over here. If you're offended by having them side by side, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I like both. I support both. I'm a little bit more Team DC, but I really enjoy the Marvel comic films and animated shows. Not really into the comics themselves. I'm more into the comics when it comes to DC stuff, so you'll probably hear me talk a little bit more about DC. Anyways, with all that said and kind of the introductory bits to this episode out of the way, I want to talk about one thing that's kind of annoying me right now when it comes to seeing reviews and people talk about the whole DC side of Marvel Comics films, and that's just how everyone's basically taking a look at Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and Suicide Squad, and basically writing them off, basically saying they're shit. I don't really understand this mentality or the point of view. I personally enjoyed all three of the films, that being Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and what I've seen from the trailers of Suicide Squad so far. I have not yet seen the film, Suicide Squad, that is. However, from the many trailers I've seen, from the many kind of like bits and pieces of extra scenes that have popped up on YouTube and stuff like that, it looks like it's going to be a really, really good film. I pretty much enjoy all the renditions of the characters they've made so far, except maybe Killer Croc. But unless you wanted some giant animated friggin' CG version of the Killer Croc, I think what they have suits what they needed for the story. From what I'm hearing in the film, he doesn't have really that big of a part to play. So why does he need to be super duper, you know, CGI'd and more crocodile looking? But yeah, there's a lot of people saying that Suicide Squad was awful because of certain boss scenes or because of certain ways that the characters were introduced. I don't really care. I think it's going to be decent. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to either see it in theaters or just buy a copy of the DVD when it comes out. It's already out in theaters, but just don't really have the money to go spend like $24 to see it right now. I mean, I could go on a cheap day, being a Tuesday, and see it for, I don't know, $7 each a ticket, because the wife and I would be going to see it together if we did see it. But yeah, I really, really don't understand the negative critique that the three films are getting. Man of Steel was all right. I mean, I understand that people are kind of pissed off about him destroying as much of the city as he did in order to save everyone from uh, Lord Zod and that giant gravity machine. There's not much really to say about it. You get two superpowered individuals fighting and able to fly. There's going to be buildings, there's going to be wreckage. You know, the only way for him to have stopped that is to try to have led General Zod out into the middle of the ocean or way up into the atmosphere and fight him up there. But someone gets punched, they're going to go flying back down into the city, create some more havoc, or fly down into the ocean. And General Zod was trying to create as much havoc as possible. So, not really much Superman could have done there. Um, as for him killing General Zod at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen it, and snapping the dude's neck, good. You know what? General Zod was trying to kill millions and millions of people. He was going to kill that woman and her son or daughter at the end of the movie. He was gonna like laser them to death. So honestly, Superman didn't have any other choice. Uh, Sometimes that's the spoils of war. You can't always just capture them and imprison them. They have to be executed sometimes, and it's sometimes one has to be sacrificed for the greater good. Just how it goes. But yeah, I liked the film. I liked how they showed Superman's origins. Not that we needed to see that for like the fourth or fifth time, but whatever. The the Hollywood studios and all those people love to show origin stories, so it was in there. I also had absolutely no problem with Batman versus Superman. It's like the theater version was a little bit kind of chopped and very rushed. Had a very rushed feel and just jumped to scene to scene to scene very quickly, and it was a little bit hard to kind of feel paced with properly. But I ended up buying the ultimate cut or ultimate edition on Blu-ray, and with the extra 30 minutes of scenes added and the way it was edited together, made it just that much more fantastic. It's a lot better than it was in the theatrical release. I mean, I enjoyed the theatrical release just because it was a decent film. I thought the plot was pretty good, it made sense. I like the harken back to some of the Frank Miller Dark Knight imagery, like Batman kind of doing that ninja pose on the building there as the lightning flashes in the background. I like his giant kind of like tanky tech suit that he wore. Uh, the way he took down Superman was pretty legit. He had those like gas bomb things that stripped him of his powers. He had like majorly powered suit. He set up all those traps. If you've seen the Dark Knight Returns animated series, part one and two, you know what I'm talking about. It's very reminiscent of the Frank Miller setup as well. It would have been cool to see a guest appearance by Green Arrow, but that's where the animated show or film came into to add that in. But we'll eventually see Green Arrow, I'm sure. Maybe not just on the WB or whatever it is, the CB, whatever the fuck channel it's shown on. I don't normally have the cable abilities or the time to actually catch every episode on TV. So I normally just buy the seasons when they come out so I can watch it on my own time and as many episodes as I like. That's how I kind of see those shows. But anyways, back to Batman versus Superman. Ben Affleck definitely surprised everyone. I don't think people were expecting him to pull off Bruce Wayne and Batman as spectacularly as he did. Uh, Very decent portrayal, and I think all the haters are shutting up now about it, and they're kind of like, oh, well, I guess I was wrong. Same thing with Ezra Miller as the Flash. I think people who are negatively critiquing him don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're going to be, shutting their mouths as soon as the Flash film comes out, and as soon as uh, that other film that's going to be featuring him in it for a little bit. I think he might have been slightly featured in Suicide Squad. Like I said, I haven't seen the film yet, but I've heard some like inklings that he's briefly shown in Digger Harkness's background, aka Captain Boomerang, which is pretty cool. I wouldn't mind that cameo if he is in there. And as for Suicide Squad, I don't see how it could potentially be too terrible. It's got a lot of fun, actiony type of scenes in it. It's got pretty decent costume and wardrobes for all the characters. The the Joker scenes, I'm sure, are gonna be pretty sweet. I don't know if there's anyone who's still hating on Jared Leto's version of the Joker, but some of the explanations as to why the Joker looks the way he is, I think, smooths over some of the issues that people potentially had with him, like the whole grill thing that he had going on. Like, if you've watched any of the animated series or if you've read any of the comic books, you know that Batman has like fucked that guy's shit up and has like broken a few teeth. So he's gonna need like a grill, as you call it. He's gonna need to fix those teeth. So there's that. Um, they've also kind of said that each one of the tattoos he has kind of represents a different story and a different major event that has happened in the Joker's life. They've also stated that perhaps the damage across his forehead is to kind of rub it in Batman's face, that he has either damaged Barbara Gordon and turned her into Oracle by, severing her spine either through being shot or some other means, or it could be referring to Jason Todd, hence the ha ha ha, you couldn't protect your family, whatever, spray painted all over the Robin suit. So that's probably what that is. The whole tattoo of his grin on his hand or in his arm. I think that's kind of cool. I mean, it's a very thuggish, gangstery type of thing to do, and people complaining about the Joker being this more of a mob boss kind of look or character type of Joker is kind of silly because, I mean, look what Jack Nicholson did. He was kind of like a mob boss type of Joker in the very first Batman, and no one seemed to give a shit about that. As well, the Joker is the clown prince of crime, so he's that in there tells me that he's like some sort of mob boss or some sort of crime boss, and he's from the trailers that I've watched, it seems to stand up to that theory very well. So honestly, I don't see what everyone's complaining about. They're saying that DC's failing to match up to Marvel's standards. Like, why would DC need to be standing, or why would DC need to meet up with Marvel standards anyway? It's not a competition. They're just releasing films based on their characters. None of the films so far has lost any money, if that's what it's all about, which it shouldn't fucking be about the money. It should be about making proper art in the form of film, filmography, portraying the characters as best as you can, having actors who can pull off the characters done in the proper manner as well. And so far, I've seen nothing but that. And the only thing that people have left to say about the Batman versus Superman thing, I still think is probably Lex Luthor's portrayal. Sure, he didn't start off as like the menacing, bald tycoon, evil millionaire type, like that you saw in Smallville. Why do I want to say Michael Bloom? That's not his name. But yeah, that dude. He played a decent Lex Luthor, but you know, it doesn't have to be the same Luthor every time. A reimagining is good because it keeps things, gives things a variety. Like if it's exactly the way the comics is, then you don't need to make a film because you've already had it in the comic form. If the reason for making films and animated uh, films are to put a different spin on it and to give it some new life, to bring in new fans, to bring in new admirers or appreciators of the genre, and that's what they're doing. They're doing it very well. I don't see how it could potentially piss off so many people or make them think that DC's failing or that any of that's going on. It's it may not be the same thing as what you see in the comics, but if that's the only reason you're complaining, suck it up because it's not going to always be the same way as the characters are portrayed in the comics. It's not going to always have the same canonity as the storylines that are going on in the comics. I know that they're trying to do the whole new 52 thing and try to stick closer to that universe of DC right now as to post 50 or pre 52. Uh, but that's just how it evolves, man. Like, I think DC's future films are going to be pretty decent. I mean, it's not going to be like Steel, like that old uh, Shaquille O'Neal DC film. Like that's it's not going to be that bad, and it's not going to be like Batman Forever or Batman versus Robin bad. You know that they have kind of realized their mistakes that they've made with those films, and they've surpassed and gotten past that. Like they already had Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy series. They did that justice, except for Bane. I think Bane was a little silly, and they focused way too much on him in that film. And I don't know. I like the Dark Knight better than the Dark Knight Rises. Just personal taste. But yeah, just these three movies I think are good. I don't know why they're still getting terrible reviews and negative critiques. Um, After the Suicide Squad, they're going to be doing, I believe, Justice League, the part one. I also think Wonder Woman is coming before that, though. I think the Wonder Woman film is going to happen and then Justice League, but I could be wrong. I have to recheck that out. Like I said, this wasn't scripted. I'm just going off of memory and kind of my personal opinion at the moment. Um, but yeah, basically just wanted to talk about those three films. Get this kind of new Nerd Corner series of my channel started, and just maybe ask you, the viewers, why you think that these three films are getting such negative reviews and negative critique. I, as a DC fan and somewhat Marvel fan, feel that it's good. I feel that there's no real huge mistakes with these films yet, except for the things that have been pointed out. You know, the destruction and death that happened in Man of Steel, and then the really squeezed together, condensed version theatrical release of Batman versus Superman, and then the um, I don't even know what people are freaking out about Suicide Squad about. Like, I guess the way they introduce the characters and some sort of like end boss scene that they're having beef with. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I'm sure I won't think it's as lame as these people are considering. But yeah, just let me know what your thoughts on Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and the Suicide Squad are. Let me know why you think they might be receiving such negative review and critique, and let me know if you also disagree with this negative review and critique. Let me know if you thought these movies were awesome and why. Uh, I honestly think this is a decent start to the um, DC cinematic universe. Can't wait to see what they come out with next. I'm really stoked for Wonder Woman to come out. I'm really stoked for The Flash. Really stoked for Justice League Part 1. Gonna be some damn good films. Anyways, thanks for watching. Stay sick. and keep nerding out.